Good morning, everyone. Well, actually, it's afternoon where I am. I'm going to let Pearl do the whole globe thing because she does that so much better than I do. But welcome to Collaboration Conversations. Good morning, Pearl. Good afternoon, Pearl. Sorry, I'm still stuck in morning.
Hello, Regina. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone that is watching this, whether it's now live or whether it's on replay. It is such a pleasure to be here and having collaborative conversation. See, you jumped with this. Yes, how many times did it take me then?
I love the fact that other people get twisted on things too. It makes me feel better. But you see what I mean, folks, how she did that so much better. She's just beautiful at that. I love that introduction. I'm always just thinking of where I am, and it's just like, oh, good morning or good afternoon. But she welcomes the whole world. You know, Pearl and I both just enjoy the time that we get to having these conversations, whether they're with somebody on the show or it's just the two of us. And that's kind of the name of the game when it's collaborating, isn't it, Pearl? That there's a three-letter word, right? Instead of a bad four-letter word, we have a wonderful three-letter word.
That we do.
Starts with an F,
It does.
and
Ends with N.
and a U in the middle. You and I in the middle. How's that? Fun. We want to have fun when we are doing these collaboration conversations. I always say on my podcast, if we can't have fun and laugh while we're doing it, I don't want to do it.
And
Got to
this
be able to have fun.
We do, and we laugh every time we're on here. Whenever you and I connect, I look forward to it, and it's always fun. It always makes me smile, no matter what state I'm in before I come to meet you. As soon as we start chatting and we've got our thoughts going, that's it. Bang, I'm smiling, we're laughing, and that's how you get work done. That and it's
That
not work
yeah,
then. It's
that's not
fun.
work.
It's collaboration, isn't it? And I said
It
it
is.
right. I didn't have to.
You did. Woohoo! I get twisted up on my pursuing profit with principles sometimes on my podcast and my TV show, and it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, it really is important if you're going to be in business for yourself, in anything in life, really, but especially if you're an entrepreneur, it can be lonely at times. And so these collaborating opportunities are so important because they can take you out of that lonely stage, put you with people who understand what you're going through because they're doing it themselves or they've been there, and you can have fun. And you can just kind of let your hair down, and you see, I have a lot of it to let down. You can now Pearl, on the other hand, really does.
Let me see. I can't even find it.
But you can just kick back and relax and not take life so seriously, right? And not take ourselves so seriously. Sometimes we just do too much of that and take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And I think as well, when you're connected with someone like the way we are as joint venture partners, we've got that empathy because so many people will show sympathy, which you don't want it
You
at all.
don't want sympathy. No.
Empathy, you fully understand. You've walked that mile in that person's
Right.
shoes. You know how they are feeling, where they've come from. So you know you can be real and raw. Yes,
Yes.
we're saying about fun, and it is fun, and we love it, and we've laughed and we smile. But sometimes you can have a bad day, and you know you've got that person at the end. Well, I say end of the phone, you don't need it now, literally. The end of the screen, you've got Messenger, you've got WhatsApp, you've got all these wonderful ways
Yeah.
that you can connect, and you can have a best friend in the opposite side of the world. Like I've got sat here, and I do class this
Ditto.
one of my best friends.
Absolutely. And there we go back to this global piece that we talked about earlier this week when we had Allie on. We were talking about the global aspects. And it's true. We are so connected around the globe. And I always there's Pearl is there in Rugby, England, and I have another joint venture partner who's in London. And I'm talking to the two of you all the time.
yeah,
Um, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to have those relationships that go beyond, they're not employer-employee relationships. They're not even partner relationships in terms of a true business partner that you have an entity set up that you're both partners in. It's a different level of relationship that is very supportive. Um, we can come to each other and share whether we're having a good day or a bad day. We can come and share it. Know that it's going to be that we're going to be totally embraced and
yeah,
supported through whatever it is, and get back on the road faster because we have that support.
yeah, yeah. And it's, I mean, it's almost like a mini mastermind when you know that you've got that connection.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know that you can say, "Oh, I've got a problem." We say, "Yes, let's jump on a call." Or we've got fantastic news to share, and we say, "Yes, right, and let's get on a
Yeah.
call." So
Yeah.
any excuse to get on a call and share what's happened in our day, and it's so special to be able to do that.
It is. And there that element of knowing the person on the other end understands. So
Yes,
I had a conversation yesterday that I shared with you before we got on here, where I was talking with a publisher relative to one of our book projects that we're doing together, and we will share that with you soon, folks, and see if you're interested in participating. But the level of energy that was in that conversation, and knowing that I could share that with you, Pearl, and you would get it and
yeah,
experience that energy with me. And I know that I can't do that with everybody. I
yeah,
mean, we'd like to think that we could do that with all the members of our family and they would get it, but they don't because they're not walking in this space.
yeah, yes,
And so when you can collaborate with somebody who walks in that same space and they get it, it is so supportive.
yes.
Yeah,
And also, like we share, we know what's going on in each other's lives. So when we know the other person has maybe a date that will bring up emotional memories, we know to be supportive. We can know we can
yeah,
reach out, and we will check when we know when you've got family events coming up, we check, is everything okay, and we always send love to the different family members, and it
right.
does make a difference. And I've got to the stage, I mean, I do my woo woo energy bit. It's almost, I'm attuned enough to know now if I know you're feeling down, but exactly the same when I'm reaching out and you're saying, "Yes, I was worried about you." And
Yeah.
when I say, "Yes," and then we cheer each other up all over again.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's a support level that is phenomenal. It really is. I remember years ago when I was in management in a credit union, young, I was in my 20s, and um, I can remember driving home one day and thinking, you'd heard the expression, it's lonely at the top. And I'd heard that expression, and I can remember driving home that day thinking, it really is lonely at the top because you don't have that same relationship with your manager, your boss. They're still your boss, even though you have a may have a good relationship with them. But you've come up through the ranks. You definitely don't have the relationship you want with a lot of the folks that you supervise, that
Yeah.
you're in charge of. And you
Mm,
can't share everything with them. And I've always believed in having a really good relationship with those that I supervise, whether it was my own business or when I was in the credit union.
mm,
But it's not that level of the relationship that you have with a collaborative partner or can have.
yeah.
It's not the same. And there are things that you have to hold back as a manager that you
Mm,
can't share with that team.
yeah.
There are things you can share, and there are ways you can build that team and that connection. But you can't share everything that you can share at this level.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more. And it does, it goes back to the whole idea that we empathize with each other and we know what we can share. But you do get to that stage when you're almost midway or even the higher you get. You can't have that in
Yeah.
a work environment, in an employed environment,
Right.
because no matter where you are, be it on a board level or as you go down, there's always someone else that's willing to take your place, and it's
Yeah.
being aware of that. And that's where you don't, yes, you might think that you've got that connection, but you don't. You
Yeah.
don't, because
Yeah.
they're always, and dare we say, we've said this a few times, but it's almost the female gender that women quite often, we've tried so hard to break that glass ceiling, but once women get to the top in corporate, very rarely do they turn around and give you a hand up. It's like they're
Yeah.
pushing you down because they see everyone as a threat. They've worked so hard, so
Yeah.
instead of embracing that and bringing others on board, it's almost like they stop that because they feel that it will jeopardize their role. And that, I've seen that a lot across
Yeah.
anywhere you see. And it's knowing that, and that's when I come back, they're not having fun.
They're
Why do
not.
you think they're not having
Yeah,
fun?
and that collaborative element is not there.
Yeah,
It's more siloed than collaborative. And oh, ladies, we do ourselves such a disservice by doing that.
yeah,
And if we could learn to work together, it would be so much more enjoyable to wherever you're working. When I had my staffing firm, I was telling Pearl this earlier. When I had my staffing firm, one of the first conversations I had with everyone that came on board, because I hired mostly women, and women can be difficult to work with in a working environment. There are times that they're just not kind to each other. I have never figured out why, but it is true. And so I sat each person down because they literally were handpicked by me, based on their personalities, based on the skill sets, the experiences that they had. We put them through an in-depth process in hiring. And I would sit them down and say, you were hired, you were handpicked because of who you are and what you bring to this company and to this position. And then I would add, and so is every other woman here.
yes,
And I expect that we all treat each other with respect.
yeah,
And I remember once we had taken our staff out for dinner. My business partner and I, we'd taken everyone out for dinner, and over that dinner, we were sharing their personality profiles with them. So we had the Myers Briggs for everybody, the MBTI, and then we had another profile that's called the Rembrandt portrait that measures innate personality characteristics. And so we were going around the room sharing who everyone was because we wanted them to understand not only themselves, but each other so
yeah,
that they could work together better. Well, the next morning, it was so funny. My business partner called me and he said, "You want to go have breakfast with me?" And I said, "Sure." So we met at the same restaurant, sitting in the same place, met for breakfast, and we get a phone call from the office. And they said, "We just had a cat fight in the office," which, for anybody who doesn't know this around the world, that you may not be familiar with that term, that means two women fighting, two women engaging in disruptive behavior,
yeah.
let's say.
And sometimes there's lots of hair pulling and nasty things.
Sometimes there was not in this case, but it was just, but it was very verbal. But I said, "Oh, no, you didn't." I said, "That does not happen in my company." And so we left breakfast and headed down to the office. We were only a couple of miles from the office. And we headed to the office and began to sort out what had happened. Well, we took these two young women, and they were both in their 20s, young women, took them into the conference room, and I said, "And I'll even let you each bring a champion in. You can bring someone else on staff in that you get along really well with, that knows you, that if you feel like you're being picked on, they'll help defend you." So we had four of these young women around the table, and I put their personality profiles up on the whiteboard, and it was clearly obvious where the conflict was coming in, what there was in their personalities that were at extreme opposites that
Yeah,
was causing the conflict.
Yeah.
But I told them, I said, "This is behavior we don't have in our company. This is not something we allow, that it's not gonna work. So we're gonna figure out what's wrong here," or there's an expression here in Texas, folks. We're gonna figure out what's wrong here, or one or both of you are gonna go down the road kicking rocks, meaning you've been terminated. If we can't figure this out, there's no room in our company for you.
Yeah.
And so we did, though. They were able to work it out, to figure out what the challenge was, and it was all in their communication abilities is where it was coming from. And I have a picture of them standing at the counter in the front office, at the receptionist counter right after that, hugging at the counter. Now, did that resolve all their problems? No, but it sure changed a lot, and they respected each other's differences after that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure exactly why I went down this road, but remind me, Pearl, why I went down this road.
Understandable, because it's me that started about women and the glass ceiling, and where
Yeah.
instead of helping each other, some women that get to the top will push others down because they don't want the
Yes.
competition. But
Yeah.
like you said, when you say 9 times out of 10 arguments come from communication, and
Communication.
this is where I say we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And
Yeah.
yes, I specialize, I'm a communications consultant, and the first thing I will say is the first rule of communication is you listen. You do not speak, you listen. You listen to what is being asked, because so many people don't, and that's down to a personality trait as well. They will start to listen, they will hear something, and then they've stopped listening because they've latched on to something, and that's when they want to start the conversation and go back. And sometimes that gold is right at the end of the conversation. Then
Yeah.
that's what people are, they might start with saying something, but what they really want you to know is at the end of that conversation. If you don't listen to the end, you will not get the gist of what people are saying.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. Communication's so important. And learning about your own style of communication and understanding other people's. And it's not just the communication, it's all of the aspects that make up that communication.
Yeah.
Is this person assertive or aggressive? Are they introverted? Are they extroverted? Are they, are they action takers? Are they thinkers? Are they, there's so many factors that go into how they're going to communicate. And the more you can understand about that, the better that communication is going to be.
Yeah.
I put a link in the chat for RembrandtAdvantage.com. That is the company that puts out that Rembrandt portrait personality profile that I used. And as I mentioned, it had 14 different innate personality characteristics. From the combinations of those 14 scales, they can evaluate over 50 performance factors. And their profile is in most cases is over 90% predictive of success on the job. It is one of the few, if I'm not sure if there are others or not, but it's one of the few that are profiles that are validated for hiring.
Yeah.
A lot of people use tools for hiring that aren't validated for it. They're more for the team building aspect. But
Yeah.
this one is truly validated for hiring because it is so predictive of success.
Yeah.
So if you want to check them out, folks, the link's there. Just tell them I sent you. Ask for Michael. Dr. Michael Santo, I'll put his name in here. Dr. Michael Santo is the developer of the profile. And he took the old Gordon profile, which was a 2.5 hour pen and paper profile, and brought it to the computer world. And now it's like a 30-minute online profile that is even more accurate than the Gordon profile was.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And we've all tried, quite often, if you've been in corporate or had a business with staff, you need to know that profiles, the engagement,
Amen.
and how people actually
Yeah.
connect with each other. Now, I did something called insights. Now, and it was down to 4 colorways. It was either red, yellow, blue, or
Right.
green. And you
Right.
did quite a few multiple choice things, and it would come through. And it was with one of the companies I was working with, and we had a few days that we worked on it. And it was so spot on. We had to do 2 multiple choice and just how you felt on the day and answering it. And I remember I came out yellow, red, because we got Lego bricks, and we had all the colours, and you could put after you've been on the assessment, you could put on your desk the way your bricks stood, so people would understand and
Oh,
see
very cool. Very
to
cool.
engage with you, because
Yeah,
I was yellow red, which was influential leader. I think we've all seen the red where you stand out because you're a leader. So I had that in
right.
me. But my influencer piece, my happiness, my fun piece, my going out there and engaging with people, that was stronger. And then the lower two was my green and blue. You see, no, green. See, I can't speak. Blue, blue was my worst. And now
Uh,
you see, blue is the analytic, the people that will check everything.
ah,
Anyone that reads any of my posts, yes, I am an English student. Say student, I got my degree in English, both language and literature. But when I read some of my social media posts back and I realize the typos, and I am mortified because I don't always check it. It goes out there, and
right.
you see, that's also how people jump in to work all the time. If you're a perfectionist, you won't get anything done. Is literally post, and then you can edit it. Just do something, move forward, do that action.
Yes,
You
do
can
it.
always edit it afterwards, and it goes back to the fun piece, because then I can laugh at myself, because there's some things I use Swipe or the Google Gboard keyboards on my Apple stuff. I'm going to say some Apple names because everyone knows I love Apple. I have it on my iPad. I have it on my iPhone. I do have my MacBook that we're talking on now, but that's a proper keyboard. But the others, I will use Swipe and everything, where you use your fingers across, and
Oh, okay.
it reads perfectly. And then once I hit send, it's done this autocorrect. So it comes out with completely different words from what I've looped around and done, which is why anyone now that knows me and has a message from me, 9 times out of 10, it's covered. It's once I've sent something, I then sent another one. Sorry for typos, it's the keyboard. Because I've I've had someone that actually said, one of my managers when I've been in corporate, and they had it on because they were sending so much through their phone. Their signature on their phone is, please disregard any typos and messages. I am sending this from my phone. So they'd actually got that. So
That's
you get
funny.
so, because people know that and they embrace it. And like you say, it
Ah,
goes back to the fun bit. You put that in your signature, and people will
right.
read it, and they think, good grief, look at the grammar, look at their spelling and syntax, and then they see the thing at the
And then
bottom.
they see that.
Smile,
Yes,
and
yes.
you get that engagement again because you've cheered
Yeah,
people up, and it's so much easier once you make someone laugh.
right.
You can open any conversation with it.
Yep.
Um, the only time I wouldn't necessarily make someone laugh is on a first date, because then I'd be terrified that I was going to laugh and snort or anything. So I just wouldn't go there. I would not do the laughing bit there. It's like there's certain meals like spaghetti and stuff. First,
Yeah, not first date. No, spaghetti's not first date.
great for a diet on a first date because you don't
Oh,
eat any.
yeah.
I can remember spending a whole evening swirling spaghetti around my fork,
Yeah.
and never once putting it in my mouth because I was terrified I'd spill it down my dress.
Barbecue might be the same kind of a thing because it's so messy, right? So good, but so messy. I want to go back to something you said, though, Pearl. You were talking about the profiles and that it was, you know, that you said took it a couple of times, but based on how you were doing that, how you were feeling that day about that thing. And that is such a key point as one of the differences in types of profiles.
Mm,
There are those that are preference based, which that's describing, you know, because that's your preference right then. And oftentimes we would, you know, you'll have people say, well, do I answer it when I'm at work or I'm at home? You know, which way? Because they do things differently at work and at home. So those are preference based. And then there are those that are innate characteristics, like the Rembrandt. These are the what is formed in you, you know, who you are internally.
yeah.
And so just be aware of which one you're using and what you're using it for. They're both good at understanding who you are and understanding how to interact with other people. Um,
And it does,
but
it's
they
what
each have their advantages.
I mean, once I understood personality types, and I don't know all because, like everyone says, like with Myers Briggs, the amount of people that say you can have a different answer every day. So it does.
Yeah.
So, but if you know your personality type and you're bringing people together on a team or on a project, you then know that your project is going to work, the team dynamics are going to work. Because like I said, with me being an influential leader, if you'd had 4 people in a project that were all influential leaders, nothing would get done because we'd be leading everyone and nothing whatsoever.
And nobody getting the work done. Yeah.
And the green would be admin. They'd like to do that. They like to be
Right.
organised and get stuff done. And the blue was the analytic piece. So someone that would
Right.
be useful in finance and everything. And to me, that whole idea, I'm terrible. You see, I cannot proofread my own stuff because I know what I meant to read and I skim it.
Exactly. That's true for most of us, and we just don't realize it.
And when
So
you're busy, I skim read stuff, and sometimes I miss the biggest thing because I've skim read and I thought, yeah, that's
right.
it. And then I'll go on, and then I'll say to people, look, if I miss something, tell me because you
Yes.
know I skim read.
Yes. So let's kind of bring this fun conversation home, Pearl. How does everything we've been, people may think we've just been off track today, but let's bring it back home to collaboration conversations. So when you're in a collaborative venture, how important is this stuff? How important is it to know who you are and know who you're working with
Yes.
in those collaborative ventures?
Oh, I think it is the most important thing because once you know that and you feel safe in that collaboration and you know it's fun, it's just going to work. You haven't got that competition or anything. It's fun. You're relaxed. You can be yourself and you can bring your A game to the table. Whereas if you've
Right.
got that competitive friction, you're always either watching your back or double thinking things and you can't be yourself and then you don't give the best into a relationship. And
Yeah.
I think anyone listening to our conversation will realize just how much fun we do have together
Yeah.
and how we bounce off each other. And that's once you're having fun and you're relaxed, you can have that conversation
Yeah.
and you get that response from the person you're speaking to, and it just grows from there. Whereas all that thinking, oh no, I'm going to choose my words carefully and I'm going to think now how's this going to help me and impact
Yeah.
the other person, and you may as well give up then. Just give up, go home and go and choose what you want to do instead, because
Right.
that's not the way to build
Yeah.
an ethically strong foundation business,
Yeah.
because if you haven't set those foundations right and you don't have your ethics and you're not looking for fun and you're not going to be empathic, as in showing empathy for the other person, you may as
Yeah.
well give up, because you won't have a business that will last. It might start to, but then people look through the
Right.
crack and it won't last. It will
And it
fall.
won't last. And there's a term that some folks may not be familiar with, depending on where they are in the world, but of walking on eggshells. You don't want that in your collaborations. You don't want to feel like you have to watch every word that comes out of your mouth. Step carefully or I'm going to break something. This person's going to get offended if I say this. You want that relationship where you can have that open and honest communication. Yeah,
Yes.
authentically you.
Can I jump in and just say something? This has come to me, and
Please.
we haven't, we don't script this.
We're not
Well,
scripted, folks.
it's
For
something
better or worse, we're not scripted.
it's something Regina and I are looking at. We are joint venture partners, and we've talked briefly at times about what it is that we do. We will go into greater detail, but we are looking individually, and for this, we are looking for commission-based salespeople.
Yes,
And
yes,
it's literally put that out there. If you know someone, yes, the whole idea that it's a joint venture and people that come on board to get those sales, we want to give you that compensation and say thank you, but it's commission based because it's got to be something you love. But if you feel that, yes, you love the way we interact, you love what we stand for, please reach out in the comments or reach out to us individually.
yeah,
And let's have that discussion and see where we can get you earning
right.
good money every month. It could be alongside anything else. If you're looking for 3K extra a month, we can help you with that. 5K extra a month, we can help you with that. Commission-based sales, we'd love to have people on board. Whatever time you have and you want to do that, the sky's the limit. You grow, we grow, and vice versa.
Yep, absolutely. Love it. Thank you, Pearl, for putting that out there. So just reach out to us. You know how to get in touch with us. We're right here on LinkedIn. Easiest way, just connect. Just connect. Tell us that you saw this show and you want to check into that. Or if there's anything else that you want to talk to us about, we'd love to have those conversations with you. We'd love your feedback on the show. Again, I've put the link in there for the Rembrandt portrait of RembrandtAdvantage.com is the name of the company, and the Rembrandt portrait is the name of the tool. Powerful tool. I don't hire anybody without it. So if you apply for a job with me as a commissioned salesperson, guess what? You're going to get your profile because I'm not going to hire anybody without it. So you'll know more about yourself afterwards, and I'll know if we're a fit. Because I mean that's a big part of it is are we a fit together? Because I don't like short-term relationships so much. I like long-term relationships. So I want to make sure that we're a fit and that this is something that can grow
Yeah,
and that you can do the job that we need done and that it can continue to grow and just become better and better over time.
definitely. Definitely. And
Awesome.
then you have fun just the same way as we do.
Absolutely. Yep. Get to join in the fun brigade. Pearl, as always, it's a pleasure. It's fun.
Right back at you. Right back at you, lovely lady.
All right. We will see you all next week. We have a wonderful guest lined up on Tuesday, so you won't want to miss that. Join us Tuesday at what is that, 8 a.m. Central, 2
2,
UK.
2 p.m. UK.
In Australia, that would be 11 p.m. Yes, they're 15 hours ahead of me.
No matter whether you catch us live or on the replay, we're always going to be here for you. So at least
Absolutely.
there we
Absolutely.
can share.
Yeah. So, with that, we'll say goodbye for today. Wish you a wonderful weekend and a happy Easter. Please
Yes.
enjoy
Happy.
your Easter. Remember the reason for it. Remember the reason. It's not about the eggs, although the egg hunt is fun.
Yes.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Bye for now.